A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst newsroom here in Colombo. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
I'm Shanji Rampal. Very good evening to you. Let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
20th Amendment to the Constitution gazetted. Leader of the opposition finds fault with the United National Party.
එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය මේ පක්ෂත් එකතු කරගෙන මේක අනන්න හදනවා.
20ට විරුද්ධ නැහැ. අපි කියන්නේ 20 ඉක්මනට සම්මත කරන්න. මේක දැන් ඇදගෙන යනවනේ. අපිට පැහැදිලිවම පේනවා මේක ඇදගෙන යනවා.
No information regarding the President of the United States engaging in a tour of Sri Lanka. A statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Tissa Attanayaka, who resorted to a last-minute minister post, questioned by the Bribery Commission. Work at the Gampaha Municipal Council comes to a standstill over a coconut tree. First day of the first test between Sri Lanka and Pakistan suspended due to rain.
In our top story this evening, the Gazette notification on the 20th Amendment of the Constitution has been published. Now, incidentally, the Gazette has been published in English. Sources at the government printer said that the document will be issued once the Gazette notification is translated and published in both Sinhala and Tamil. Meanwhile, various views were expressed by political parties today as well regarding the 20th Amendment to the Constitution.
Cabinet මණ්ඩලයේදී ඔබ දන්නවා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය මේක 237කට එකඟ වුණා. දැන් අද ගිහිල්ලා ලැජ්ජ නැතුව
You are aware that the United National Party agreed in cabinet to 237 parliamentary seats. But today they say in public at media briefings shamelessly that they wanted 225 and not the 237. This shows the United National Party's two-faced policy and their laid-back approach to ensure the passage of the 20th Amendment. It is clear that Rauf Hakim is also in a move to scuttle the passing of the 20th Amendment. Some of them are of the opinion that 2 ballot papers need to be introduced. We need a simple electoral system. The United National Party, together with other parties, are trying to smear this. They are trying to avoid this from being passed. But I would like to state that we, as the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the United People's Freedom Alliance, will work towards ensuring the passage of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution.
යථාර්ථයක් බවට පත් කිරීම සඳහා අපි කටයුතු කරන බව ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න කැමැතියි.
If the draft on the 20th Amendment to the Constitution has been gazetted, then it can be taken up for debate in Parliament. This is the manner in which a bill is created. This is the purpose of the Parliament. Please rally those who brought victory to you and get the 20th Amendment to the Constitution passed. But now it is being said that when this is tabled in Parliament and passed, if you make us a promise, we have no issues of considering it. But this must happen. There is no need for a new government. We are not opposed to the 20th Amendment. What we are saying is to pass the 20th Amendment, but this is being dragged. We can clearly see this. There is no need for that. The bill can be passed expeditiously if needed. But we can clearly see that there is no sense of urgency or interest in getting it passed. We as the United National Party are not opposed to the 20th Amendment. Even up to date, we believe that President Maithripala Sirisena will not give nominations to the former members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party who stole, dealt with drugs and who brought in ethanol to the country.
Now here are some of the views expressed by the public on the need for electoral reforms.
It should be done. It should be adopted because I support 20th Amendment. The struggle happens between just the party among the party members. So if we quit that situation, if we can base the upcoming the so-called 20th Amendment on the basis of a mixed representation, just like a French system, okay, that would be ideal.
I do think so because I think that by the 20th Amendment being enacted, we can give a place to the minorities because I think that the minority groups are poorly represented in Parliament. So with this amendment, I think that there will be better representation for them.
preferential system and things like that. We have experienced that for the last 35 years, and it has so many bad effects and adverse effects on the society. So I think it's high time to get this passed by all the. I think all the members of the parliament must give their wholehearted support to this amendment.
We are against the preferential vote system. My aspiration is that a fair election be called for and suitable persons be elected to parliament. There is no point in persons who have not even passed the O-level examination entering parliament. Intelligent persons need to be elected to parliament. This electoral system needs to be changed, and public representatives who will serve the village are required. Drug barons and persons involved in abuse are entering parliament again. We do not like it. There are no intelligent persons in parliament. The situation where businessmen, thugs and the corrupt have taken over the chambers need to be changed. We need a new electoral system. An amendment on that needs to be presented to Parliament and be passed so that the next election will be held under the new system. We need public representatives with a good education who will serve the people. There is no issue in a change in the election system. It needs to be people friendly. When this is passed, the drug barons, ethanol dealers and marijuana dealers will not be able to enter parliament again. As the general public, we request that this amendment be passed rather than placing obstacles on its path. Today there is a culture where the ethanol dealers, marijuana dealers, drug barons and black money dealers are entering parliament and destroying this country. This situation needs to be changed. If this change is to take place, the 20th Amendment to the Constitution needs to be passed. Through this amendment, we will not see a system where no one will be held accountable to the people. The passage of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution will provide an opportunity for the people to elect an MP who will be accountable to the electorate. Drug barons and drug dealers have entered politics, so we are against the existing system. The preferential vote system is something that is not required for Sri Lanka. We have no faith on the preferential vote system. What we hope for never transpires.
Leader of the JVP, Anrukumar Disanaga, says that his party is ready to face any electoral system. He made this statement addressing a conference at the Munragala Community Hall yesterday.
A conspiracy is taking place in the country at present. The presence of the JVP in Parliament is a nuisance for them. They can't steal, nor can they obtain an illegal liquor license from the government. We talk about all these and more. They cannot operate their drug business. We question it. Everyone knows why the JVP is in Parliament. We are vocal about all wrongdoings and reveal it to the public. There are individuals who are attempting to prevent the JVP from entering Parliament through an electoral system. That is what they wish. The existence of the JVP does not depend on the election system, but it depends on the people's decision and choice. We are prepared for any election system. If this system is not good, let's formulate a good one. We are ready to say yes for it. However, what they are attempting to do is speak of one thing and pass another.
Maheshini Kulonne is the spokesperson to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and convening a press conference today, details of the investigation carried out on the renovations of the official residence of Sri Lanka's permanent representative to the United Nations in Geneva during the tenure of Shenukka Siniviratne as permanent representative were announced.
DHB Edirisinghe, retired Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Accountant Services, was appointed to conduct an investigation. He had conducted an investigation and the recommendations will be read out to you. She took up the appointment on the 16th of November 2009. The contract for the renovations was selected before this date. It has been recommended that the allegations made that P.T. Thurayaraja was selected as a subcontractor for the renovation by the husband of K.D. Sinivaratne to be viewed as baseless accusation. There have been instances that contractor P.T. Thurayaraja was an LTTE activist. However, suspicion arose regarding his involvement with the LTTE at the end of this contract. Therefore, with regard to the allegations made that an enemy of the government of Sri Lanka, an LTTE operative, has been used for the renovation of the official residence of the permanent representative, the recommendations made cite that it is not fair to hold any official who served at the office of the permanent representative accountable for these allegations. Shanuka Sinivaratne appeared before the Committee on High Posts in Parliament. The committee that studied the report that was compiled had decided that Shanuka Sinivaratne is suitable to be appointed to the position of Sri Lanka's ambassador to Thailand. Thailand Sri Lankawe Thanapati lesa pat kirimata sudusu bava.
Also speaking at the press conference, the spokesperson for the Foreign Ministry said that the ministry was not aware of any visit to Sri Lanka by US President Barack Obama.
What sort of a communique or communication has the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has made with the US departments or the authorities in relation to US President Barack Obama's visit to the island?
Well, we have also heard what Minister Lakshman Kiriyala said, and to be quite frank, we are not aware of any plans. We are not aware of any plans for such a visit by the US President, and we are not aware of any timelines either. But we understand that there may be a possibility that the President may be visiting Asia towards the end of this year. This is a possibility that we understand. And if there is such a possibility, of course, Sri Lanka would welcome the consideration of a visit, especially because no US president has ever visited Sri Lanka. But as I said, we are not aware of any plans for a visit at this time by the US president.
Have the Foreign Ministry has held any discussions related to this matter?
No.
Questions were also raised at the press conference over the United Nations Human Rights Commission report on Sri Lanka due in September and on Sri Lanka's internal investigation on alleged human rights violations.
The last government had same issues related to the alleged human rights violation during the conflict. And the present government did prolong or delay the report, which was supposed to be submitted earlier this year, to September. So what sort of a progress has the present government made regarding this report?
The report will be submitted by the High Commissioner in September. And our assumption is that, as you have seen, the international community is also aware of the changes that are happening in Sri Lanka. You see that there is a shift in the international community in the way they approach Sri Lanka, the way they respond to Sri Lanka, and the way they engage with Sri Lanka. Which is why you also saw Secretary of State of the United States visiting Sri Lanka. So our assumption is that all these things that are happening, the developments, the progress in the north and east, as well as everywhere else in the country as a whole, would be taken into account by the international community when they make a decision in September.
An assurance was given about the internal investigation, but we cannot see intangible progress in terms of internal investigation regarding alleged human rights violation during the conflict.
Well, if you look at the letter that the Minister wrote to the High Commissioner on the 13th of February this year, you would see that a lot of the undertakings have already been implemented. Even before he wrote the letter, he had already extended an invitation to the High Commissioner for Human Rights to visit Sri Lanka. That itself was a remarkable shift because we were willing to engage with him on addressing issues which previously we were not even willing to discuss. Two, we extended an invitation to the Working Group on Enforced and Involuntary Disappearances. Now, the dates for the visit have been agreed. They are visiting in August. The Special Rapporteur on the promotion of truth, justice, reconciliation, reparation, and guarantees of non-recurrence, he visited Sri Lanka, as you know, and we have
held discussions with him, and we continue to remain engaged with him. Similarly, we continue to remain engaged with civil society in Sri Lanka as well as outside.
Certain lawyers are of the view that a mechanism needs to be formulated to ensure that drugs seized by the police are not available in the markets due to the actions of certain officers. However, police media spokesperson ASP Ruwan Gunasekara said the risk of drugs leaving the possession of the officers persists only during the time of the raid and not otherwise.
The police media spokesperson said that investigations are underway to determine how a police constable attached to the Payalegoda Crime Division, who was arrested yesterday over the involvement in a heroin trade, came into the possession of the drugs. The police said that the police constable is being questioned on detention orders obtained for 7 days. On Monday, a woman engaged in the drug trade was arrested by the police special task force along with another man in Wattala for the possession of 3 grams of heroin. Upon questioning the 2 suspects, the police had made an astonishing discovery as the duo claimed that they were supplied with the narcotics by a constable attached to the Payalegoda police. The suspects had further revealed that the money earned through the sale of narcotics are handed over to the police constable at the end of the day. The police said that the suspect police constable was arrested after he was informed to come and obtain the day's collection. The police media spokesperson said that the suspect police constable has been suspended. The suspect will never confess in court that he possessed 15 kilograms of narcotics. However, today the story where the police produced only 5 kilograms will not be said in court, because whenever a suspect is produced in court, he or she will deny the fact of possessing the drugs. If the police are not producing the actual amount of drugs that was seized, and if they are simply trying to prove that the suspects are involved in the drug trade by producing a portion of the seized drugs, that matter cannot be taken easily. The government must intervene and formulate a mechanism. If that does not happen, the good name of the police department will be scarred because of a group of corrupt officers. If a police officer commits such an offence, he will not go unpunished by the police department. Strict action will be taken against such an officer. However, the drugs brought into the police station do not leave the station. If the drugs leave the premises, it has to be documented. Investigations have noted that this arrested police officer may have concealed little portions of drugs without submitting it to the police station. Air Marshal Gagan Bulat Singhla, who assumed duties as the 15th Commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force, called on President Maithripala Sirisena at the Presidential Secretariat today. Air Marshal Gagan Bulat Singhla met the President to inform that he assumed duties as the Commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force. Commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force also presented a memento to the President to mark his resuming duties as the 15th Commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force. Ambassador of Saudi Arabia Abdul Aziz Al Jamaz, who completed a 7-year tenure in Sri Lanka, paid a courtesy call on President Maithripala Sirisena today at the Presidential Secretariat. The President at this meeting had recalled on the support extended by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on the establishment of the irrigation system in Polonnaruwa and other development tasks undertaken in many parts of the country. The outgoing ambassador has also extended an invitation to President Sirisena on behalf of the government of Saudi Arabia to visit the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. President Maithripala Sirisena also presided over the event to hand over compensation to the families of those who died and disabled while serving at mines that come under the National Gem and Jewellery Authority. The program was held to provide compensation to 5 miners who had either died or sustained injuries after the collapse of the mine shaft in Lunugala and the poisonous gas leak at a mine in Gilimale. A sum of 500,000 rupees was provided as compensation to each of the deceased miners' families.
Former Secretary of the UNP, MP Tissa Attanayake, arrived at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today.
Parliamentarian Tissa Attanayake was summoned before the Bribery Commission based on an ongoing inquiry regarding his appointment as the Minister of Health by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa during the recently held presidential polls. He was at the Bribery Commission for 5 hours.
There is a question before the law regarding the legality of whether this issue can be taken up before the Bribery Commission. Just because I spoke on behalf of the UNP supporters, such a punishment should not be brought forth without any basis. This effort will not bring justice to the UNP supporters. I still think about my political future. I am careful at this juncture and would make a decision about my political future after a great deal of thought. Parliamentarian Sajin Divas Gunawardena and former Putlam District Coordinating Secretary for the Jatika Savya program attached to the Presidential Secretariat were further remanded till the 24th of this month. They were further remanded after being produced before Fort Magistrate Priyantha Leonage today.
Parliamentarian Sajin Divas Gunawardena and former Putlam District Coordinating Secretary for the Jatika Savya program attached to the Presidential Secretariat were placed in remand custody for misusing 22 vehicles belonging to the Presidential Secretariat. Producing the suspects in court today, the Criminal Investigations Department said that one of the vehicles used by the MP under a false license plate was discovered in a garage in Narahempita. The CID informed court that further investigations have been launched as details of another 5 vehicles of the Presidential Secretariat are yet to be revealed. Meanwhile, the respondents mentioned in the petition against Minister Sajith Premadasa, citing that only the ministers and government associates were being provided with the Samurdhi benefits, were summoned before the Supreme Court today. It was revealed that notices were not issued on the respondents. The petition will be taken up once again on the 29th.
Minister of Housing and Samurdhi Sajith Premadasa says that he will face any challenge when serving the public.
The laying of a foundation stone for a children's development school in the Allegal area in Hambantota took place under the auspices of Minister Sajith Premadasa. The foundation stone for this school was laid as part of the program of the Ministry of Housing and Samurdhi to uplift and develop 15,000 villages under the theme Door to Door, Village to Village. There is a group of persons that brought the ethanol culture, the drug culture, the casino culture, the culture of extortion, as well as the culture of molesting children and women to the country and placed the nation at the mouth of destruction. We do not fear these challenges. We will not run away from them. We are ready to face any challenge for the sake of the country, its development and its people. We are ready to even sacrifice our lives for it. I can state that with the guidance of Rana Singha Premadasa, Sajith Premadasa is ready to fulfill this historic revolutionary development program and lay it at the feet of the people.
UNP parliamentarian Buddhika Pathirana says that the details of an attempt to wrongfully obtain a contract for the supply of food for the soldiers will be revealed in the future. Moving on to our story, that story will come in the Stay with News First. That story will come along as the bulletin goes ahead. Moving on, a program was launched today to bring together all sections of society in order to condemn child abuse.
The program is the brainchild of the National Child Protection Authority and will be implemented under the theme A Stop to Child Abuse. Chief incumbent of the Srinag Vihar in Kotte, Venerable Maduluawe Sobidatero, attended the inauguration of this program.
Some mothers go abroad leaving their children behind. Then there are instances when both parents are employed. Anger between the spouses can also be a reason for this. Children are engaged with tuition classes throughout the whole day. Then there are spas and massage parlors located all over the country. There are places that rent our rooms. Facebook is also a reason for the children to be drawn to such things. Child abuse increases on a daily basis. The sottishness of fathers and their addiction to drugs turns them into monsters, and the innocent children fall victim to such persons. The law of the land also needs to be enforced. A big responsibility lies with the Ministry of Education. If we do not band together and face this grave issue, the future of the children will be dark.
The State Minister of Children's Affairs, who also attended the event, said that a national policy on child protection is being formulated in an expedited manner.
The Colombo Grand Mosque says that the fasting period for Muslims across Sri Lanka will commence. The month of fasting on Friday, since the Ramadan moon, was not seen in any part of the country.
It is disappointing to see how certain day-to-day activities in the society are politicized at present. The following incident you are about to see will bear testament to the extent to which politics that has caused damage to the society.
This incident was aired on the primetime news bulletin at 10 p.m. on our sister channel Sirsa TV yesterday. The altercation was a result of the efforts taken by the employees of the Gampa Municipal Council to cut down a coconut tree in the Vanatavatta area in Mudungoda. The Municipal Council had decided to cut down the tree, taking into consideration the risk it posed to pedestrians due to falling coconuts. Since the owner of the coconut tree did not give his nod to cut down the tree, the employees of the Gampa Municipal Council arrived at the location flanked with the police. An employee of the Gampa Municipal Council and a police officer had been admitted to hospital with injuries during the altercation. A demonstration was organized by Municipal Council workers to condemn the incident. Employees also shied away from work today. Incidentally, parliamentarians also intervened in the matter. A heated argument arose between the Deputy Mayor and the Gampa District Parliamentarian Ajit Manamperuma. The police was influenced to release the individuals who were arrested. I urge you not to interfere into matters concerning local authorities, even if it is from the same party. We received information that after this man was arrested, certain politicians went to the police and tried to release him. That is wrong. Therefore, we asked them to conduct an unbiased investigation. Firstly, the manner in which the police had acted is wrong. This cannot happen. They say that this is not the first time that this happened. It happened twice previously and no one cared about it. And the third time it aggravated into an altercation. There were enough and more instances where this could have been solved. I request the IGP to conduct a special investigation into the matter. The Municipal Council workers had taken steps to cut the top of the coconut tree subsequent to the altercation yesterday. And that is how the tale of the coconut tree in Mudungoda ended.
Still in local news, according to locals, the human-elephant conflict has risen to a more severe level in the Hambantota district as a result of outsiders coming in to the area and taking over state lands. Our correspondent in the area said that persons who have taken over lands have also set up electric fences around these lands.
Such invasions are nothing new to the people of Hambantota, Dunugamweha and Suryawawa. These locals point out with the rise of development activities in the Hambantota district, such actions of the outsiders who come into the areas have given way for wild elephant incursions. Locals also say that businessmen who use political influences have set up electrical fences in lands where wild elephants too reside in. Because of the areas where elephants live in have been taken over forcibly, the locals in the area have been compelled to use illegal means in order to prevent wild elephant attacks on their villages. They have been compelled to maintain an electric fence with the use of the electricity supply at their houses.
UNP parliamentarian Buddhika Pathirana says the details of an attempt to wrongfully obtain a contract for the supply of the food for the soldiers will be revealed in the future.
The parliamentarian made this statement while addressing the 58th phase of the programme to provide solutions to the people's issues, which was held at the Velipitiya Weekly Fair in Matara today. There was a certain company that took over a contract to supply food to the army in a very corrupt manner under the government of Mahinda Rajapaksa. Now I have received information of an attempt to retake this contract. So at this point, I would like to reveal to the public that when I get the rest of the details over these coming days, I will go to the Bribery Commission against this conspiracy. There are attempts to involve two of the top brass in the army as well into this.
Chairman of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, Bashir Sego Dawood, has requested Minister Rauf Hakim to prevent the removal of the mosque in Dambulla or to take measures to construct a mosque elsewhere. In 1982, the area in which the mosque is located was announced as a development zone of the Urban Development Authority. MP Bashir Segudaud pointed out for a period of 20 years until the year 2012, there has been no issue over the premises. The letter addressed to Minister Rauf Hakim also states that it was proposed in the previous presidential election that the mosque would be relocated to a land close to the Dambulla dedicated economic centre. As Rauf Hakim is the current Minister of Urban Development, Bashir Segudaud would request that speedy measures be taken to relocate the mosque.
Meanwhile, Minister of Justice Vijaydas Rajapaksa says that the principle of a democracy is based on the concept of rule of law. He made the statement at the launch of 2 academic publications in the fields of strategic studies and law at the General Sir John Kothalavala Defence University today.
When we say the norms and principle of democracy, restoration of democracy, upholding of democracy, or having a good governance, all those things are based upon one simple concept, rule of law. Nothing else that you need not have the exhaustive knowledge to get the meaning of this democracy. That is rule of law. What is important is you can't sell the justice. You can't deny. You can't delay. Either way, if there is any miscarriage of justice, then there is no rule of law.
Before we head into sports news, in business news, speaking at the CIMA Business Leaders Summit yesterday, Deputy Minister of Economic Affairs and Policy Planning, Dr. Harsha De Silva, says that Sri Lanka will be the most competitive economy in this part of the world.
So, going forward, we will try to create an economy that would be the most competitive economy in this part of the world. We want to have policies that provide the opportunity for you to make your business succeed by becoming competitive. And the way to think about it is very simple. Think of this equation: competitive factors multiplied by competitive processes equals a competitive economy. It's a very simplified way of looking at it, but if you are smart enough, you will then realize where government is going to be investing in, what industries might become or might grow faster than the others in terms of creating competition, competitiveness in the factors that we have.
In sports news, bad weather has delayed the start of the first test between Sri Lanka and Pakistan in Galle today. Now, when the match referee inspected the pitch at 1:45 in the afternoon, it was decided that play will not take place today and the match is set to begin at 9:45 tomorrow morning. Covers were still on at the Galle International Stadium at 9:30 a.m., the time scheduled for the toss, as heavy rain lashed the southern coastal town. Sri Lanka and Pakistan are due to play 3 tests, followed by 5 one internationals and 2 2020 internationals.
Well, that's a wrap for Primetime News at 9. Remember, we are just a click away. You can simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk to know what's happening around you. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
And I'm Shanji Rampati. Good night and take care.